Welcome. I'm Pastor Steve Hay, and this is Asbury United Methodist Church. We invite you to a few Lenten devotions in the days ahead. Only one missionary around the world has a global day in his honor and a color that's distinctly attributed or associated with that missionary, and that's St. Patrick. And today is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. In Matthew 28:19, Jesus says, "Go therefore into all the world to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit." Cynthia and I chose a hymn, "Be Thou My Vision," to be a part of our wedding ceremony, and it has explained my heart ever since. St. Patrick was born in 373 in an area off the Clyde River in what is now Scotland. His father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest. When he was about 16 years old, there was a raiding party that came in, attacked his village, and burned his home. He, Patrick, was seen in the bushes, and one of the raiders grabbed him and took him aboard, and then they sailed back to Ireland, and Patrick was sold into slavery there in Ireland. He said there that he gave his life to the Lord. I'm quoting Patrick, "The Lord opened my mind to an awareness of my unbelief in order that I might remember my transgressions and turn with all my heart to the Lord my God." That he wrote later in life. Patrick eventually escaped and returned home, and there was there for a number of years before he had a dream, much like Paul had in Acts chapter 16, where the Macedonian man said, "Come over and preach the gospel to us." But Patrick's man in his dream said, "Come over and preach the gospel to us back in Ireland." His family desperately tried to talk him out of it, but he was convinced and convicted that that is what God's plan for him was. And so he returned to Ireland, where he had been a slave. It was not an easy decision, and he took just one book with him, the Bible. As he evangelized the countryside, multitudes came to listen, and the superstitious Druids of the religious people of that area at that time opposed him and sought his death. But he continued to preach, and his preaching was powerful. And he became one of the most fruitful evangelists of all times. And he founded approximately 200 churches and baptized as many as 100,000 converts to the faith. His work endured, and several centuries later, the Irish Church was continuing to write prayers, write hymns, preach sermons, sing songs of worship. And in the 8th century, a unknown poet wrote a prayer that asked God to be his vision, his wisdom, and his best thought, day or night. In 1905, a scholar by the name of Mary Elizabeth Byrne found that prayer written, and she translated it into English. And another scholar, Eleanor Hull of Manchester, England, took Byrne's translation and crafted it into verses with rhyme and meter. Not long after that, it was set to a traditional Irish song. The title of the song or the tune is Slane, which is an area where St. Patrick confronted the Druids and preached the gospel. So, based on an 8th century prayer, this hymn is one of the oldest in the Western churches. "Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me save that thou art. Waking or sleeping, thy presence my light, thou my best thought by day or by night." Happy St. Patrick's Day.